welcome to the Peace Park in Taipei.
Marty, it's so wonderful to be here with you today, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. As the president of the Otto and Fran Foundation, and you led this major gift to establish a peace center in Istanbul. And I was just wondering, what inspired you to make that investment?
Well, Jenna-Lee, first, you are a graduate of the first cohort at the Peace Center at Bahçeşehir in Istanbul. Last time I saw you, well, you don't wear a cap and gown in Turkey, but you were receiving your diploma. So let me just say congratulations again.
Thank you so much. It was such an amazing experience, and it's so incredible to see you here again in Taipei.
Yes.
We're doing peacebuilding work again. It's
Yes.
a lovely connection.
But to answer your question, I have to introduce you, tell a little bit of the story of Otto and Fran Walter. Otto was grew up in Germany, and he became a lawyer in time to be disbarred for his religion, because this was 1933. And one of the first of the Nazi hate laws was that Jews could not have a profession defined as doctor, lawyer, business executive. And eventually he and his family left Germany and came to the United States, where he started all over again. He did quite well, and he ended up, he was a philanthropist during his own lifetime. And after his death, he left his fortune to philanthropy. And by a crazy set of circumstances, he left the decision making to my husband, and by extension, me. And when we thought about it, we realized that his entire life had been devoted to peacemaking. And what made better sense than to create a peace center in the Middle East that would honor Otto and everything he stood for, and which would help bring along the next generation to carry forward that peace work. But I want to ask you about what made you choose the Peace Center at Bahçeşehir and why you decided to spend the time to go to it.
It's so inspiring hearing the story behind the Peace Center and really the meaning behind it. And I decided to be a Rotary Peace Fellow because I studied psychology and narrative therapy, and then I did masters in peacebuilding and founded a nonprofit, co-founded it, called Tales of Turning. And we work with narrative therapy. So communities and individuals are seen as the experts of their own lives. So while we learn peacebuilding and conflict mediation theory, which is very important, it's really meeting other peace fellows that are so valuable.
Yes.
And so I learned more from the other peace fellows about their context, about the peacebuilding practices that are embedded in their community. And this has really deepened the peacebuilding work that I'm doing in South Africa and enriched it. So it was a really valuable experience.
And this was exactly the reason why Rotary moved from a global Peace Center program at the certificate level to regional. I mean, it's a big region, and that's okay, but the idea was that there would be more possibilities for connections among the fellows. So tell me about some of those.
Oh, it's led to lifelong friendships, both personally and professionally. So after the Peace Fellowship and during it, I collaborated with Mahmoud from Somalia, who was also in my cohort, and it was between our organizations, Tales of Turning and Greedo. So we implemented a digital peacebuilding project in Somalia, where we took the methodologies we had developed at Tales of Turning in South Africa and adapted it to the context in Somalia. And this was really incredible because Mahmoud and Guido really hold the expert knowledge of that context and peacebuilding practices there. And by combining our methodologies and our experiences, we really created something I think is quite extraordinary and learned a lot in the process.
So tell me more about Tales for Turning. When did you start it? What led to that decision, and what's it look like now and into the future?
So it's been a really amazing journey. So I studied psychology, but as we know, to access psychology services, you really have to be part of a middle class or more wealthy. And I really wanted to do something that could reach everyone. So I founded Tales of Turning with Stefan Snell and Jeffrey Mamputa, who are very experienced conflict mediators. And we started taking conflict mediation and psychology and combining that with technology and social media so we could reach people at scale. So what we do is we take the social media listening tools that marketing companies use to collect data from public social media, and we use that to do a conflict analysis. So we really get deep insight into what communities are talking about, where the tensions lie, where potential areas of violence are, and we build early warning systems. And then we train people in online and offline peace building. So we've taken conflict mediation and psychology and adapted it to our online environment. So we know online it can be so polarizing. So we have methodologies that reduce mis and disinformation by up to 82%, which is proven by studies that I've done with the University of Washington and the University of Zurich. And then we also teach people to deepen the conversation. So instead of arguing online, we use it as a space for empathy and to create understanding. And then we co-create new narratives with communities so they can amplify their voices and their stories through social media. So, and we're working globally, which is really exciting.
And that, you've talked about your project with Mahmoud in Sudan.
Yes.
And there'll be more in the future to help you expand globally?
Yes, so we're collaborating with Rotary clubs in Lebanon, and we hope to also replicate it in America and other countries across the world.
We need this kind of mediation in the United States. Please come to my country. We need all the help we can get at this point.
Yes, I think because the internet and social media is so global, and because it's digital peace building, the more people that we get involved globally, like using the online environment constructively, the more we can unite to make a difference. And I think that's what I love about it so much, is because we know the world is in a very difficult place, and it's going to take all of us really to take an action and make a difference. And this is a way for us all to be involved. But now you've asked me a lot about myself. Now I have more questions for you. But so you were part of creating this Peace Center that I had a really incredible impact on my life, and these connections and these networks that have been created from it. And what did it take to create the Peace Center from scratch?
Well, I have to explain. Rotary has started the Peace Center program back in 2003, and we now have 8 centers around the globe. Each one is a major commitment financially. I'm often asked, why don't we start more? Why don't we? It's a matter of money. It's about the endowment is around $20 million US these days, so it's a lot of money. And it's important to remember that when the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation made the commitment to the Rotary Foundation, it was very simple. We wrote the check for the money, but all the decision making was made by the Rotary was made by the Rotary Foundation. We didn't. We knew that the Rotary Foundation was planning that the next Peace Center would be in the Middle East, North Africa region, and we said yes, we want to do that. We didn't say that we wanted a particular university or a particular country. That all came out of the fact finding. Because what happens when Rotary starts one of these things is they reach out and look for universities, potential partners that have expertise in the area and have the capacity, and then start winnowing them down to find the best. So we started with about 25 organizations. We worked it down to 3, and visited each of them, and ended up with Bahçeşehir. Now, the Rotary Foundation asked me to be part of the search committee. We always want to keep the funder happy, but it's important to know that I was there as a Rotarian, not as a funder. So I had 1 vote, but no bigger vote than anybody else did. It was truly a collaborative experience, and I'm delighted that when we saw Bahçeşehir, everybody individually on the committee was very excited about the opportunity, and I think that you and your cohort have proved that we made the right decision. I should also say that Rotary sees these peace centers as they're not short-term arrangements; they're long-term arrangements. And I personally plan to return, not for every cohort, that would be twice a year, but I want to continue to come back to seek these graduations and learn what the students that come after you are doing and what they're planning to do, because this was Otto's legacy. And in a way, even though it wasn't our money, it was my husband's legacy as well, because he unfortunately did not live to see the fruition of the center, although it was very much part of his passion. And so in honor of both my husband Frank and Otto, I intend to come back and continue to see what you and the other cohorts are doing in the future.
It's really inspiring hearing the story behind our experience and what led to it. And so I shared a lot about the impact it had on me personally and professionally. And I'm just wondering, when you decided to invest in creating a peace center, what was your vision for what you wanted to achieve?
Well, you know, peace is powerful. Peace is eternal. Peace is a goal. Peace is not signing an agreement that we're not going to bomb each other anymore. That's not peace. That's a ceasefire. And peace doesn't happen in boardrooms. It might. Very occasionally it does happen in boardrooms. I'm thinking of the Good Friday Accords that ended the 60, 70 years of bloodshed in Northern Ireland, and that's held for the last 25 years. Remarkable. So sometimes peace accords do hold, but real peace is done on the ground. And people like you working one-on-one with damaged and vulnerable people all around the world. And so we'll never know if the peace centers keep a war from happening, because that's not the way it works. But we will know if we live in better times. We will know if communities are safer and kinder to one another. And so I don't have any specific tactical expectations. What I hope to see, what I live to see, is young people like you dedicating their lives to help their communities, wherever that community may be, and whatever that looks like. And sometimes it looks like things I've never thought about, and that's probably good, because I don't know everything, and because the world is changing, and the needs are different.
It's this beautiful co-creation and learning, and I think it's nice to hear this like similar vision that peace comes from the communities themselves. And what I've seen from my relationships with Peace Fellows is that they do it out of passion. They really understand their communities, and they've started projects because they really, really care. And that's something that excites me about being part of the Peace Fellows and now the Peace Fellow Alumni Association.
Yes.
And so I can also hear your dedication to peace, and I'm sure there will be Rotarians and other people listening to this that might wonder, how can they support the Rotary Peace Centers and Peacebuilding and Peace Fellows that are doing this incredible work?
Well, there are a couple of ways. I mean, we always need more money. Not desperately, but we always need more money. And so leaving a gift, either a legacy gift that takes place after somebody's death, as in the Otto and Fran, as Otto Walter did, or a gift to be used during one's lifetime to create a fellowship for a student is always timely. That said, we also need to spread the word. We used to say that the peace centers were Rotary's best kept secret. Then President Stephanie visited all the centers and made the centers a centerpiece of her year as president a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it's no longer the best kept secret. Here we are in this Peace Park here at the International Convention. But even so, we need to have people continue to remember the Peace Fellows and take advantage of you and your classmates by inviting you to speak at Rotary events, getting you involved in global grants and district projects, and just taking advantage of the expertise that we're developing here. So those two things, financially, but also just supporting it with actions. Can I say something about the difference between scholarships and fellowships?
Yes, please.
Well, I learned this from a Peace Fellow. I was at Duke UNC, and I was talking to a Peace Fellow, and I said something about his scholarship, and his demeanor changed. He'd been so nice before. He almost got mean, and he said, "It's not a scholarship, it's a fellowship." Well, he was speaking in English as a second language, and this is supposed to be my home language. So I said to him, "Can you explain to me the difference between a scholarship and a fellowship?" And this gentleman, he said that a scholarship is, and by the way, I've checked this out since in the dictionary, and he's absolutely correct. A scholarship is tactical. I give you money, you go to school, done and done. That's it. A fellowship is a relationship. And every Peace Fellow I've ever met considers it a relationship. And they all say what you said at the beginning of this program. They say, thank you for this opportunity. I will spend my lifetime giving back. And of course, the give back is not to Rotary. The give back is to the world. And so these fellowships are creating 1,900 and counting, 170 per year now. We're growing.
Incredible.
People who are giving back to the world. So thank you very much.
I think what you've just shared really embodies my experience as a Peace Fellow and this relationship building and trust building. And it does feel like being part of a global family, both the other Peace Fellows, because they're all around the world, and Rotary. And it's really exciting to me. And the Peace Fellows are really doing extraordinary work. And so I would love to also see more collaborations with Rotary clubs to see how they can support the mission of the Rotary Club, as well as the Rotary clubs can support the missions of the Peace Fellow, and really that collaboration. I think we all know the world is quite in a difficult place, so it's really inspiring to meet other people that care, and it's going to take all of us taking action and working together. We're all pieces in the puzzle of making the world more peaceful and making people feel like they're seen and heard and that they belong. So I think exactly what you said, inviting Peace Fellows to speak, to be part of global grants, and really they are an incredible resource. And I know I graduated at the start of this year and am now part of the network, and it's just I am blown away by the people that I'm meeting, and I find it really sustaining, because sometimes it's really sad, it's heartbreaking, the violence we have to face, and through meeting other people that really care in Rotary and in the Peace Fellows, it really is very healing for me and inspiring. So,
and I'd like to end by reminding you of Rotary's action statement, which says that we're a group of inspired individuals who work to create sustainable change across the globe, in our communities, and within ourselves.
Yes.
So if we're not personally changed, we're not doing it right, and we are personally changed.
Yes.
We are all doing it right, and we are personally changed. And it's I will never be a Peace Fellow, but I've been changed by all of you, by you and all of your classmates. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much. It's been wonderful talking to you today, and goodbye to all our listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and please share this.
Thank you.
Bye.